Tom Cullen, welcome to Reasons to be Joyful. Thank you for being here, and thank you for last night.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for watching.
It's very weird when you say to somebody, thank you for last night. Everyone's going to think, what was she doing with him last night?
Yeah.
The Gold is so good. So I loved season 1, but we get to really, I feel that it's not so much about the Brinks Mat robbery now. It's so much more about the people, even though the first season was. But your character sitting there in Tenerife, and I know what's coming, but yet it was good. It took me away from real life. I sort of sunk into it.
Oh, that's good. That's why I watch stuff, I think, is to kind of disappear a bit and forget. And it's nice to break up your life a little bit with somebody else's story. I think that's escapism, isn't it? It's lovely. But the thing about that story is that actually, it's a bit of escapism, but it's affected all of us.
Yeah.
The Brinks Mat robbery really did kind of change the course of British society. The whole of the East End of London, for example, is built off the back of Brinks Mat gold. But the thing that I find most fascinating, and it's a small little detail, but if you were to buy any gold since 1983, which is when the robbery was, it has a very, very, very high chance that there is gold, Brinks Mat gold in your jewellery. So you're sat at home watching the show, and you might have a bit of Brinks Mat around your neck or on your hand.
And we wouldn't know, though, of course.
Well, I mean, if you've bought it since 1983, chances are that it's got Brinks Mat.
Yeah, but nobody.
All thanks to John Palmer.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. I mean, you wouldn't be sitting
you wouldn't
there
know,
and thinking, I've got to I bought this because it's Brinks Mat.
No, of course.
Wow.
But that's how much this story has kind of permeated British culture and society. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. And it goes all the way from the kind of macro, from the micro to the macro. It really is fascinating.
Did you completely... I have to say, after watching last night, I wanted to know more about Palmer. I mean, I really did. I mean, it's just that that moment, and I know you said it when I chatted to you before, that when they open up the Sunday Times Rich List, and there he is with the Queen.
Yeah, above the Queen.
Above the Queen.
Yeah.
On the same page. It's extraordinary. And
Absolutely.
Then his wife saying, "Why did you do that?" And it was all... He was all about the big I am and showing off, wasn't he? He did love it.
Definitely. I think the way that we've arced the character in Neil, our writer, he always wanted to do a second season. And so in the hopes that we would be able to do one in season 1, I knew where the story ended. And so I wanted to kind of really track that arc in an interesting possible way. So I made him as kind of reticent and as small as possible initially, a kind of low-level criminal in Somerset. At the time that the Brinks Mat gold was brought to him, he was doing gold bullion, and he had some jewellery shops in Bath and Bristol. And one of the key components of tracking that story was that, I kind of wanted to start him off as the guy that just wanted to better himself. He was from Solihull and grew up next to a dump, and he was a child of 8, I think, fatherless. His dad was a drunk and was a potential kind of Peaky Blinder, although that was probably nonsense. But he was so poor that he would be given free shoes from the council because they couldn't afford any. And so what starts off as somebody trying to better themselves, and he left school at, I think, 13, illiterate, unable to read and write. And what became about betterment, the gold kind of in our story acts as it kind of infects him and infects all of them. There's this great shot at the beginning of his first ever scene where the gold kind of glints off into his eyes, and from that moment, it's this kind of escalation and then collapse. And when we pick it up in season 2, he's kind of at his zenith, and you can see that want to better himself has kind of turned into greed, and that greed is what undoes him. So that was a really bambling long.
No, it wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. It was exactly spot on. But he's such a fascinating person because you can, obviously because you're a brilliant actor, but you can see it happening. You can watch him from the outside, and you can see all the people around him watching this from the outside. And he's not, this is a really weird thing. He's a bad man, obviously, but he's not nasty. He's sort of, like you say, he gets carried away. It infects him. He wants more. Look at the he wants all the standing, the social standing, but what is it like to play a real person when family know he existed? So we can all read about him, which I did straight after watching last night, and I had done when I chatted you before. I'd read a bit about him, but even more so after watching him for an hour, I wanted to know more about him. I became fascinated. So that's your fault. Thank you very much. But I presume as an actor, you want that. You want people to wonder.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest compliment you can get, and that's what you kind of want, because in some ways, the real story is more bizarre than what we've got down. I think there are, for Neil to write it, and he's amazing. I mean, he's so diligent and thorough with his research, and he really, I don't quite know how he creates this really complex story and puts all these components together, and every kind of episode has a really great build and crescendo, and it's a good watch.
It really is.
But to compile all of that historical and all of that research, all those events into an episode is very difficult. But the other hard part is that legally you have to make sure that you're kind of doing it properly, because they are real people, and there are real people involved, and there are some things that happened that are alleged that you can't put into a drama because you don't want to get sued. So actually, some of the real alleged stories are absolutely bananas that aren't even in the show. And it's interesting that you say that John Palmer isn't a nasty man, because I mean, I think actually he really was.
Yes, but what we've seen last night, there's no nasty.
No.
He's greedy.
He's very smart. He kind of ran two versions of himself. He was a very personable person. The amount of people that have come up to me since the show came out being like, "Oh, I've had a pint with John Palmer," or "I know John Palmer." He really did put himself about.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You mix in those. I just find that extraordinary that people come up and that's.
Yeah.
Oh.
From all walks of life, from my life, people say that they've met him or have come across him. It actually happened recently after an RTS screening, Royal Television Society screening. There was a guy there that I've known since I was about 11, who I haven't seen since I was about 18, who said, "Oh yeah, I know them. I know these guys." I was like,
"What?
But how?" Unfortunately, I was rushing out, so I couldn't ask him, but I messaged him.
That's insane.
Absolutely fascinating. But John was so clever because he had this kind of personable front, but underneath it all, he was running one of what was at the time the biggest criminal organisation coming out of the UK, and with that, some bad things happened. There's actually, if you want to really know more about him, there's a fantastic podcast series that the BBC have done on him. I'll have to look it up and remember what it's called, but it goes very deep into what his life was. It's about 6 episodes. It's fantastic.
How is it for as an actor playing a real person as opposed to a made-up person?
Yeah, I mean, there is obviously a huge amount of responsibility.
Yeah.
John Palmer's family is still alive, his children are still alive, and you've kind of got to put that out of your head. I did a lot of research. I read a lot, watched as much as I could. There are clips of John online. He gets stung. He got stung in real life, and so those clips are on available. And in season 1, he did that interview with Kate Adie, which we kind of replicated.
Yes.
And so I watched as much as I could. But the launch pad for me, for any actor, has always got to be the script, because it's always really key to remember that this is our version of John.
And also, you're not an impersonator.
Well, that's the other thing, is that I don't want to do an impersonation. You know, I want to try and capture an essence of him, and it's an interpretation of him. But there also has to be dramatic license. But also, he's from Solihull, which is just outside of Birmingham, or in Birmingham. But he lived in Somerset for most of his life, so he has got this kind of like really odd, kind of quite high pitched, mangled accent. And I mean, if I was to do that, people would just be like, that is the worst Birmingham accent I've ever heard. People would be like, that's the worst Somerset accent I've ever heard. So, for example, there we kind of decided that the cleverest thing for us to do was to try and separate him and Marnie, his wife, from the South London criminals. So we're like, right, let's just base them in Somerset. And so I did a kind of John Palmer version Somerset accent. So it's a little bit softer than Marnie's. And so for those kind of little dramatic details, we change and shift. But we hope that the essence of these characters are the things that kind of...
I absolutely... I was intoxicated by it, as I was with season 1. And I was really pleased. I think sometimes if you really love the first season of something, you worry, just as a viewer, because for me, television is always, and film and theatre is always about the viewer, the audience, and there was a part of me that thought, oh, what if it's not as good? Because when I saw you a couple of weeks ago, I said I loved season 1 so much. I just sort of couldn't stop, and I enjoyed it so much. So thank you.
Well, thank you for watching it. It's very scary for us as well, because the show did very well. I think the episode 1 is up to like nearly 9 million views. So a lot of people watched it. A lot of people really loved it. And so there is also a responsibility that that you don't want to mess it up. But we knew the scripts were good, and but we knew we also had to evolve the show tonally. We've gone into the 90s.
Well, it feels it. It really feels it.
There's a new director, new makeup designer, new DOP. It was a conscious choice to change the style of the show a little bit and kind of set it more in the 90s, and it's kind of a bit more bombastic. It's expanded.
The music's good as well.
The music's really good,
and they don't overdo the music. And I think a lot of things, if they're from the 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, whatever, so it's in the past, they sometimes overdo the music, so you just know this is the time, and they overdo the hair, and it works so well. So thanks very much.
And the first 3 episodes, there's a lot of new characters introduced, so it kind of in some ways feels like a first season. So it's a little slower. You're setting it up, but the last 3, 4 last eps are just fantastic, and I think maybe some of the best of the whole show.
There's a certain thing in episode 1 that the yellow van, I didn't go to the next one. I thought, I'm not going to binge this. I'm just not going to binge it because I'll just be up all night. But also, became obsessed with the yellow van. You probably can't remember, but there's a moment with yellow van.
I remember, yeah.
And obviously, it's a big story part of it. But I became obsessed with the yellow van. It was... Well, I want to know what the yellow van is. It's weird how it's a strange thing. So thank you for that. But so many other things as well. And I know you're really busy because you're doing House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
At the moment, you're filming that at the moment.
Filming that at the moment until kind of October, I think. Yeah.
How's that? So that's done here?
That's filmed in Leavesden, which is just outside Watford. It's where they shot Harry Potter, I think. That's kind of where it's got its reputation. There's a big Harry Potter museum that I think probably props up the whole of Watford's
Yes.
economy.
It's fantastic, though,
I've
actually.
never been.
Oh, it's really good. But House of the Dragon is a massive beast. That's not meant as a pun, but it is a massive beast of a show, worldwide phenomenon. That must feel quite something to be walking in. I mean, you've done huge, mighty shows. You know, if you look at your CV, in the old days, your CV, but if you look at all the things that you've done, and I know you direct and write and all of those things as well, which we'll talk about, but they're huge, big shows you've been a part of.
I've had quite an odd career in some ways, yeah.
Odd? Do you think of it odd?
I don't know. Well, weirdly, I haven't looked at my CV ever. I had to kind of put together a bio for something. And I was like, what have I done?
I could tell you, I
couldn't remember. I was like, well, this is really kind of very varied, and there's no kind of clear path.
But that's good, isn't it?
I think so. I think I have no, you don't set up as an actor kind of being like, this is the actor that I am. I still don't really know. But I was looking at it, I was going, oh, well, I think there's a lot of versatility here, I think. And I think maybe I'm more of a character actor. I mean, I don't know, but...
Okay, pick what you're looking at it now. So you're looking at it now. Pick out a couple of your... Oh, go on, do those.
Well, for example... I was out with my mate on Saturday night. Went to Lido Fest to see Jamie XX, which was great, by the way. And we've met doing a job called Gunpowder, which I played, which is about the gunpowder treason plot with Kit Harington, and I was out with my friend Ed Holcroft, and I played Guy Fawkes in that, who was like a kind of really tough, very large psychopath. But then my big break was the film called Weekend, which was directed by Andrew Haigh, where I play a gay guy who falls in love over a weekend, and it's this really sweet, romantic, very vulnerable love story. Then I've also done Downton Abbey,
which is another massive beast.
The real beast. I mean, that one, I was a bit overawed.
Oh, really? That's
definitely.
Interesting.
I was really early in my career, and I felt a lot of pressure. There was a lot of, like, Matthew, played by Dan Stevens, just died. And, I was still kind of, like, whirling around in the fact that Weekend had just come out. And
I thought Weekend was incredible. I loved that. But Downton was my bubble bath.
Yeah, it's a very bubble bath.
It was my bubble bath, and I've said, and so many of the actors from that show I've interviewed, and they all weirdly say the same thing. So when you said it, I wasn't surprised. It became this. It was like a huge tidal wave, and suddenly, a few of them have said, you suddenly arrive in America. Oh my God! It did that. But also then House of the Dragon that you're going in, that's another, it's like that, isn't it?
Well, I'm older now, and I know myself
for
more.
you, yeah.
For me.
I just mean as show-wise.
But for show-wise, it's, I think, maybe bigger.
Bigger, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know.
In my heart, no.
Fan culture has shifted quite a lot, I think. And I think people really love Downton Abbey, but people are, like, obsessed with... the Game of Thrones world, like obsessed with the lore, so I don't know, but the size of the production feels bigger. But I don't know whether you found this. I find that the bigger the thing, often the people are nicer and simpler.
I'm so pleased you're saying that. So you're enjoying doing House of the Dragon?
Loving it, and everyone is just fantastic. There's kind of zero ego, even though it's a third season. Everyone's just so warm and welcoming.
Oh, how lovely.
Matt and Emma Darcy are just two of the kindest people, and so warm and welcoming. Matt's great. Even if somebody's got a line, he goes up to them, shakes their hands, welcomes them in. He's a really special guy, and Emma does the same.
That's really lovely.
They're wonderful, yeah.
But you're in the whole season?
I can't say.
Oh, okay. You can't tell us anything.
I can't tell you
But you're
anything,
also
how
doing
boring.
something else. There's something else about to come out as well.
I've got 2 things about to come out, actually, yeah. I've got another crime thing coming out, which is a Welsh show, which is called Arafin, which is a Welsh language show. So in Wales, you shoot each scene in Welsh and then each scene in English. So the Welsh version has already come out, and then the English version's about to come out, and the English version is called Mudtown, and that's set in Newport, and I'm playing a Newport crime.
Is that where's that coming out from?
That is coming out on a channel called Alibi, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I've got another thing coming out on Channel 4, which I'm excited about all of them, but there's this wonderful book called Trespasses, which was written by Louise Kennedy, which is set in Belfast in the 1970s, and it's about a young Catholic girl who meets and falls in love with an older Protestant barrister who I play, and it's an adaptation of that book, and it's just, I'm so proud of it. The scripts are just extraordinary. I mean, the source material is extraordinary, and the adaptation is fantastic. The director, Dawn Shadforth, is an artist, and the cast is just mind-blowing.
So
it's Gillian Anderson and this young actor called Lola Pettigrew, who is like, they're just mind-blowingly talented. Did you see Say Nothing?
Yes.
Lola is the young Dolores.
Oh, I know exactly who you mean. Yeah. I know exactly who you mean.
And Gillian plays her Lola's mother. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, creatively. It was so challenging.
Really?
I woke up every morning being like, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this.
So you have imposter syndrome?
Who doesn't?
Weirdly, I was talking about this to somebody yesterday, and I think most performers, most entertainers, whatever you want to give as a general arc, whether it's a musician, presenter, whatever, we all have it. We go, how come it's, can I do this?
I was talking about it on the weekend, actually. Like, I've kind of only just started to stop apologising for, like, being in an audition. So
you apologise when you go to an audition?
I mean, not literally apologise, but just not feel worthy of being in that room or good enough, or and I have messed myself up so many times in my career, self-sabotage or just kind of a lack of confidence. I'm only now starting to actors, yeah. Only now I can like feel like I'm walking through and being like, okay, I think I can do this. And even then, you know, I messed myself up.
Yeah, but you just said, I think. So you actually said that without even realising it. You said, I walk into a room and I think I can do this. Instead of saying, I walk into the room and I can do this. No. I listen, I've been doing this for 2,000 years, and I still, every single time I go into a meeting, I think, they're going to find me out. Yeah.
I wonder if you stopped feeling like that, whether then that's the time to stop, because fear is good, no? I mean,
yes. But I think most actors, I'd say 99% of the actors that I've spoken to, from the dames to the newbies, who all are shy or have self-doubt or beat themselves up about something. So it's par and parcel.
Sure, and I'm really conscious that also don't want it to sound like I've got, that like it's a tiny little violin out. I think
it doesn't sound like that at all. You're just being honest.
Right. I think it is part and parcel of it. I think it's probably part and parcel of the nature of being a performer anyway, and putting yourself out into public space and opinion, and that
you're always going to be judged. Actors don't want to be judged, and yet they're putting themselves out there to be judged. Actually, presenters, musicians, anyone in the arts, it's sort of saying, hello, I'm going to put myself out here. Writers, here's my book. I hope you like it, or you might not like it. I'm going to take it away from you, because if you like, then if you don't like it, then it's all of that.
Yeah.
And I go on and on about that. We're all so judgmental these days, and I think because of social media, there's so much judgment put out there, and yet we still do it. because we love what we do. Like when you talk about your jobs, and I said this to you the other day, your face, you glitter, you glow. You'll watch this back on YouTube and you'll think, oh, is it what she means? It's like that moment where you see the gold in season 1 in the gold, and the gold shine, the light catches you all, and you're intoxicated by the gold. That's what your job does for you.
Definitely. And it always has done, actually.
Even when you were thrown out of drama school. What happened? How come you were thrown out? God. What did you do?
I just should never have made... Yeah, so I...
You don't need to say.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. It's part of the rich tapestry of life. So I'm
have to name the school.
I'm happy to talk about it. So I grew up... I grew up, my parents used to work in a little theatre in Powys in Llandrindod Wells. It's a town of about 2,000 people, I think. And they were doing a thing called TIE, which is Theatre and Education.
Theatre and Education.
And they just, were trying to change the world.
But I love TIE. I think it's vital. I want more in schools
agree.
now.
I don't know why it doesn't exist anymore. Well, it does exist, but I wish there was more of it. I think it's essential. Anyway.
So do I.
I grew up kind of in a rehearsal room. My primary school was next to where their little theatre company was. So I'd finish school and I'd go and sit in a rehearsal and just be like looking at these grown-ups just being silly and playing. And just being, this is magical. I want to do that. And they were just my absolute heroes, the actors in that room. And then I kind of went on this. My parents divorced when I was 2, so they worked in a theatre company even though they were separated. And then my father moved to Cardiff, and I ended up kind of going from this really small little country hotel. My mum had this country hotel eventually, and this little small country villagey school to the biggest school in Wales, and it was just a real shock to me, and some stuff happened at home which just sent me on a kind of like quite a wobbly path, and I completely lost myself, lost what I wanted to do. How
old were you?
I was 13, and things just got quite complicated in my home life, and I kind of completely lost myself and what I wanted to do, and acting just kind of dissipated a little bit. And so I didn't actually go to drama school straight away. I was trying to find other things. I was working in restaurants, and I was just pretty miserable. I was depressed. It was not a great situation. And then eventually one day I was like, right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go to drama school. And I got in. I got into Central School of Speech and Drama, and I got into Welsh College, and I think that was where I went to. And I was like, I'm going to go to London. So I went to Central, but I just wasn't ready. I was this very angry, very tight, aggressive guy who was just struggling, and that went to Central, and the teaching wasn't very good, and I let them know I was drinking too much. It was just a really bad situation.
You were lost. You were feeling lost.
Absolutely lost. And they just didn't know how to handle me, which is completely understandable. And at the end of the first year, they were like, I think you should leave. And I remember the head of acting sitting me down and being like, acting isn't for everybody. There are other things that you can do. And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
This is absolutely what I want to do. But in some ways it was really good.
That helped you to suddenly focus it, maybe.
It did a little bit, yeah. And I very cheekily called up Royal Welsh College, where I'd gone in the year before, and they took me in for a coffee. This is well after they'd offered all their places. And the head of acting, this amazing guy called Dave Bond, I had a coffee with him, and I told him what happened, and he said, come to.
Oh,
And so I didn't have to
wow.
stop and audition again. And he took me in, and I was still all over the shop.
Yeah.
I really was. I was often in trouble, and I would be in his office, and he'd be like, what is going on? But he had patience, and he kind of believed in me, and it was the best thing that,
Everyone needs that, don't they? Somebody who believes in them.
Absolutely. And there were some teachers there that really didn't believe in me, but there were a few there who really, really did. And they just cracked me open. And interestingly, through the work there, I just couldn't be vulnerable in any capacity. And they just worked at me. There was a teacher called Jamie Garvin at the time. Every time I'd walk past the corridor, he'd go, "Can you be vulnerable yet?" And it used to drive me crazy. But now I know what he was doing. And
How
slowly but surely,
amazing.
I worked through 3 years just trying to be vulnerable, and, vulnerable in my life as well. And then my first job out of drama school was weekends, playing like the most vulnerable character
totally.
ever. And I was able to do it. And they helped me kind of find myself again. They helped me be that little boy in that rehearsal room again, who was kind of sweet and soft and gentle. And it's been a journey. I'm nearly 38, 40 now, and I've got 2 kids, and I kind of finally feel like I like myself again.
Oh, how wonderful.
And the relationships with my family are good. And
Oh, I didn't want to ask, but that's great.
Yeah, it's it's good. It's still complex.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's sort of, that's the thing, that people looking from the outside see actors and performers and think, oh, they've got this wonderful life, and they meet these people and they do this, and they're in the show and everybody adores them. But everybody has their stuff. Everyone has their stuff. And actually, it does make us what we are, all the stuff that we carry around. But it sounds like you're still learning. But you did the same thing again. That when you said, but I'm here and you can't quite work out how old you are, 38 to 40. I love that you're saying that. You're not quite sure how old you are, but that's fine. All actors can do that.
I'm 40 next month.
Oh, are you? So
Yeah.
that's not 38.
Did I call myself 38?
I said I'm 38 to 40. That's fine. It's an actor. But happy birthday.
I just can't
What date's your
remember.
birthday?
July the 17th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
I always forget how old I am. I actually normally think I'm older than I am. So saying I'm 38 is great.
you think you're older? I said, I'm 33 every birthday. I'm sticking to it. Every birthday. Find an age.
I might start going backwards.
Find an age and just stick to that one. Yeah. But you did the same thing again. Your face lit up when you talked about now and acting and what it is, and your family obviously as well.
Yeah, there's been lots of times in my career where that self-confidence and that self-belief has been really difficult and has eroded away at me. And there's been many times where I've nearly stopped acting because it hasn't been a nice experience.
I hope it is now. You say you're enjoying what you're doing
love
now.
it. I feel more ready to be an actor in some ways.
Yeah.
I think that, and I don't know whether this is for most people, but I feel like the happier I am and the more kind of together I am as a human being, the better my relationship with everything in my life is, including my work. I'm a better actor for it. When Weekend came out, I just wasn't ready to be successful. I just wasn't ready, but now I feel ready to do all sorts of things, and feel much more comfortable in my skin. I'm so blown away by anybody who's in their early 20s and it's their first job and they're like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm so impressed by them.
But they probably still are,
Of course.
Yeah, they're probably not.
Of course.
They're probably feeling just as insecure as you say you still feel when you go for auditions. And
Yeah.
here's a weird one I'm going to throw at you, which is what I said last time. you do realise you've got to do comedy. I thought it again now when we're talking. So you came on my Sunday show and instantly, and there was a guy there who used to work in comedy. And he said, why haven't you done comedy? We both did. And I'm thinking again now, you've got to find a comedy project.
Well, not that I've been it's been a particularly funny chat so far, but...
No, but there is this thing about you. I love the way you look. You have this... smile, and I can tell that you're very honest about things, and that's what makes you a really good actor. But also, I can see you doing comedy.
The problem is, I just don't think I'm very funny. But funny enough, after you said that, the next day an audition came in for a comedy.
No.
So I've tried my best.
How did the audition go?
I did it. I did it. I sent it off, and I haven't heard a fucking thing.
Oh! They're thinking about it. Is it a big comedy?
They're just mulling.
Is it a ha-ha-ha comedy, or is it a aha comedy?
He's a pretty ha-ha kind of guy, yeah. Actually, I would love to do it. Obviously, I can't talk about it, but the character...
Yeah, no, don't.
He is... he's like this... Whoever gets it's going to be great, because he's this kind of like this really cool guy who travels the world, and women really, really like him. But he's deep down really insecure, and he meets this woman who just is not interested in him, and it sends him loopy. And he's this incredibly needy, very desperate guy. And the scenes were great, and also he sings a song and starts rapping.
Well, it's only a week then. You only did it last week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only a week.
Who knows?
They're testing other people.
Exactly.
They're seeing if they fit. And if it happens, it's supposed to. If it doesn't, it's not the next show.
Absolutely.
That's so funny, though. You said last week, I've never even been asked for a comedy. And then the next day that happens. No, I love that.
It was good fun to do it.
We foresaw it.
And I thought of you.
We foresaw it. We could just tell. But you're flexing your other muscles, the directing and filmmaking and everything. Is that still a part of your plan?
I love it. I really love it. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. My parents they acted a little bit, but they were mostly writers, directors, and I think maybe I'm better at that than acting. I don't know, but
Well, don't stop acting.
No, I won't, because I love acting too much. Good. But I really, really love it. I'm not like a technically amazing director, but what I think I'm good at is creating a space for people to like really thrive in, actors especially. And I've only made one film, but it did well, and for what it was, we had a micro budget, and we shot it in like 9 days, and it was semi-improvised, and it did really well. It did lots of good festivals, got a little cinema release, and was well reviewed, but it was a while ago now, and I've spent the last 6 years trying to write my next film, and I've got 3 projects kind of snailing their way to
What
completion.
About what you were telling me about when you were 13 and all of that stuff? Could you not write that?
Well, that is something I'm writing. I am writing a play about that. That is it's actually more difficult than you think.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Every time I kind of go
Churns it all up.
It's quite intense. I'm like nearly welling up now just talking about it, which is so weird. It's tough, and the tough thing that I find about that is that I don't want to like. There's people involved in that story.
Yes, yeah.
And I feel protective of those people.
Of course.
Still, even though sometimes they weren't great people,
But you can get essence. You can get little bits.
Well, there's a specific dynamic that I really want to talk about, and I'm writing it, and it's good. It's just intense.
There's so much in you, though, as well, and also you're like your dad. Your dad now as well. So it's trying to find the time to do.
God, therapy of becoming a parent, right? It's so intense. Those first few years. I mean, my eldest is only just about to turn 4, so I say first few years. I mean, her life. Did you find that?
Oh, yeah. No, but you also
I
never
just think
sleep again. You never sleep again.
I'm surprised that you're saying I light up because I feel very, very dull today because the sleep has been terrible.
No, you never sleep. When you're a parent, and then my younger one's 18, when she goes out, you don't have to wait up. I'm fine. I'm getting an Uber home. Of course, you just want to know that they're home. It's so,
I am going to struggle with that.
We'll get them going out.
Yeah. Is it inappropriate if I just go to the same club and stand in the back?
Do you know, sometimes I have, when my elder daughter went to university, ripped. I mean, it was literally, and I said, do you think I could if I just move in near, she just looked at me, she went, no, Mum, no, go back to London. Oh, but Cornwall's lovely.
Cornwall, that's really far away.
It was far away. Yeah, but she's back home now because it was fine. Thank goodness. It does. They go, they come back. But you've got a few years. Although every single person that said this to me, I wanted to go, ooh, shut up. So I can't believe I'm saying it. But oh my God, it goes in a blink of an eye.
I know.
Really does.
No, it's happening now. I can't quite believe it.
That your baby's 4.
I just can't believe
Your first
it.
baby's 4.
Yeah.
So starting big school in September?
Starting in September.
Wow.
Yeah, we're moving to Wales, back to Wales. For me, my wife is Californian, so she's moving to Wales. It's going to be an interesting experience for her. I say wife, we're not married. It's just easier.
Are you going to? Is that what you mean? Are you getting married?
That's the plan.
Oh, lovely.
We've just
Does she know that? Or you just told her, talk about it on the podcast. By the way, you're getting married. She doesn't know.
This is the proposal, actually. So hopefully she likes it.
What, getting married?
No, Wales.
Oh, Wales, okay.
I mean, I hope she likes getting married as well. Maybe that's why it hasn't happened yet. I keep asking her, but she keeps on saying no. No, I haven't asked her yet.
See, you can do comedy.
She's, we'd like to. We've just had a lot of big life stuff happening, one after the other. And I was like, we can wait on that one. That's, let's settle down a little bit.
But you're going to Wales.
Sorry.
When you're so busy.
And my 4-year-old is going to go to a Welsh-speaking school. So.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, but neither of us speak Welsh, so.
You've done a Welsh drama.
Yeah, I did all my stuff in English. When they offered it to me, they were like, we'd love you to do it. You don't have to speak Welsh. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Because there were actors in it who are non-Welsh speakers who learnt it kind of phonetically. And my one mate, Matthew Aubrey, who we went to drama school together, he has now learnt Welsh through doing this TV show. But anyway, I've just started to learn.
Are you on Duolingo?
No, because I'm really dyslexic. So Duolingo, I'm just grammar. I don't know. I just can't understand grammar at all. It's like such a head mess for me. Anyway, even in English.
Well, so you're doing it just listening.
There's this app called Say Something In, and they're doing it in. They've got one in Welsh, Spanish now.
So it's just the spoken word.
So it's just spoken.
Oh, lovely.
The idea, I think, is that it's like you learn through immersion. So
I love that.
So you just listen, and then you have to. They'll give you a sentence to say. And then you've got to try and put it together in Welsh. And so you're really having to use your brain, and you've got seconds to do it in.
I love it.
And it's so effective. It's really amazing how quickly you learn.
It's
and
good for
the sense of achievement's amazing.
It's really good. I'm just looking because I'm on day 568 of my Duolingo.
What are you doing?
French, because my younger daughter was doing it for A-level. And her and my husband, her dad, were speaking French to each other. And I thought, I did that so many years ago. And I can say, où est la toilette? Oh, no, that sort of thing. So I thought I'd learn
that sort of thing.
And bibliothèque and fenêtre and ma maison. So I just thought, right, I'm going to do it. And I now do it every day. And I love the idea of just speaking it as well. But when you're in Wales,
it'll hopefully be easier, yeah.
Your 4-year-old is coming home and speaking Welsh to you.
Well, that's the thing. Her Welsh is just going to go through the roof because they'll only speak Welsh to her.
So that's fantastic. How lovely.
She's got 4-year-old brain, so it'll just be great. So how much are you doing it a day? How often?
I make sure I do each day.
10 minutes? 20?
Yeah, 10 minutes,
And-
20 minutes.
and-
Sometimes I do a bit more.
And how
If I'm on a train.
is it working for you? Are you
Yeah,
able
I
to
surprise myself.
Cool.
It's difficult. But Welsh is really difficult.
It's really hard. Different alphabet.
But it's a beautiful language, though.
I think so.
Can you say anything in
Tolkien
Welsh?
think so. I can try.
Go on.
So, I mean, I've literally just started this week.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry to any Welsh speakers out there. So let me see. Dwi'n moyn ddysgu ymarfer siarad Cymraeg, which means, I think, I want to learn... No, I think I've said I want to learn practicing speaking Welsh.
But sorry, you've just started and you just...
Yeah,
okay,
I've done
that's really impressive.
Yeah, I've done 4 days.
You can speak that you can say that after 4 days.
Honestly, there's on the say
You work with this app.
I should, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should. If not, do it quick.
Yeah. Actually, let me just call them quickly to see if I can get some kind of commission. No, they on the say something in Spanish. They've got a little video, and this woman is conversational in Spanish in a week. I mean, it's like a crash intensive course. She's probably doing 12 hours a day of this.
Okay, thank you.
But she can
say something.
Do it in a week.
I'm going to download it when you finish.
And it's not like
Duolingo.
fluid, but it's
fluent.
It's very impressive. It's kind of like a bit stop-starty.
Okay.
But I mean, she started just being able to order a beer, and then she's understanding what somebody was saying to her.
Okay, thank
a week.
you. That's sold it. Thank you very much. Alongside all the shows you're in and everything you're doing. So when does they all come out?
Good question.
Do you know?
No. So I think Trespasses will come out on Channel 4 around kind of autumn,
Lovely.
November-y time.
Okay, so soon.
And I want to talk about it so much, but this I probably can't say too much. But Channel 4 like it so much that they've done something quite special, which I'm not sure I can
Okay,
say.
don't say if you're going to get into trouble.
But I'd watch it just for the artistry of the people involved, and that would be autumn. Like, I've never worked on something that feels so female. And I'm so proud of that. The book is written by a woman. The script is adapted by a woman. The lead characters are women. The director's a woman. The producer's a woman. And you feel it. It feels so powerful in its femininity, and it feels so. The POV is absolutely from this female character's.
I can't wait to see it.
And the way that Dawn's directed, it's beautiful, and we're so used to watching things made by men, and
Sadly,
men and women see the world differently. They just do. But I'm cautious not to kind of talk in kind of broad strokes and tropes and cliches, but you can feel that there is a different way in which women see the world, and Dawn specifically, the way that she's edited it, and it's really, really beautiful and delicate and but powerful. I'm so excited by it, and I'm so proud of that aspect of it. And that I've got nothing to do with that, but I'm proud to be involved in that, And so that comes.
You're
out
doing it again. Look, you're sparkling again. You're sparkling.
I'm very sparkling.
You do sparkle. You sparkle, Tom. Tom, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to see you each time, and long may you fly, because you're wonderful. Thank you so much, Tom.
Oh, thank you.
Gaby